This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble. And we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Charlie Mike, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Raul. I'm excited about this guest that we have today. It's a good buddy of mine, William. Now, listen, I'm jealous of William for a lot of reasons. And of course, as you can all tell, one is growing facial hair. And so that's a big reason. William was in the Army. He did about, am I right, 13 years?
That's correct. Just short
of 13 years. He's got a vast knowledge of different, everything. Yeah. William, and introduce yourself. Say hello.
Hello, everybody. My name is William Garay, Jr. I'm from the Houston area. We live now in Pearland. And I've met Raul not too long ago. And since then, we've just been connected. As a veteran of the Army, I got retired in 2018. I had a severe concussion in 2017 that kind of really threw my whole world into chaos. And so I transitioned early, moved home, and now I'm happy.
Yeah,
Tell you that I'm very happy.
Yeah. So, man, during your time, you're a combat vet, correct?
Yes,
man.
Yes.
That's thank you for your service. First of all,
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I try. Nah, man. With your life in the military and then transitioning out of the military, how did you take that? How did you coming back into civilian life? Did you have any struggles, any issues?
Oh yes, I as a staff sergeant in the Army, you think that you have it under control, that your finances are right, that you're making the right decisions. And then you get out and you're like, man, I was not prepared for this. Yeah. I went through all the TAP classes. I did the transition program for almost a year, and when I was also stationed in San Antonio, working with the wounded soldiers that were coming back and helping them transition, you think it would sink in, but it's one of those things that you can learn to swim on the internet.
Right.
But until you're in the water, you don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
So when I transitioned, I was married to my wife, Jess. Hi, Jess. I love you, girl. And we had 4 kids. So when we moved home, it was a bit cramped. Thankfully, my parents let us live at their house for a little while. We struggled. I knew when I transitioned that I had to work. I knew that, of course, I knew retirement was going to be coming in and all that. But I was like, I'm going to get a job. I'm able to work. I'm going to work. And the Lord blessed me, and I found myself at a communications company that does low voltage installations. So all your telecommunications, as far as internet speed, your cables, your audio visual, family-owned business. Fantastic company. But it was in a warehouse, and it's warehouse work. It can get boring, but I met really good people there.
Yeah.
And they took care of me. So through all that, I kind of find myself in a hole, just working and not happy. And that was very difficult. So the best way out of a hole is you stop digging.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I realized all the troubles I was going through, my wife and I had some very good conversations. We said, how do we get out of this? What do we do? So we turned to Dave Ramsey's principles, which is eliminating debt, paying everything in cash. And it was difficult. But when we started that in 2019, at the end of it, we had like $75,000 in consumer's debt, right? And not including our house. And today we have just about $9,000, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, that's what's up.
That's like 2 years through COVID, man. And And the difference is night and day.
Takes a lot of stress off you too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that these gray hairs don't show, but they come through.
Yeah. No, I mean they don't. You can't tell. Yeah, man. So, man, getting out, you seem like you semi-adjusted okay, or I know you had your issues, not your issues, but your problems. I know a lot of times when guys get out, man, they depend on substance, alcohol, drugs, and things of that nature. Did you struggle at all with any type of PTSD or just, I mean, I know I missed the camaraderie a lot.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big things for me. I was used to being around people all the time.
Absolutely.
And then, it's just, I mean, being around your family and being around your soldiers is not the same. If that makes any sense. Yeah.
No, absolutely. For me, when I transitioned, I drank a lot, like everybody else does, and you think it's normal. And I'm sure that didn't play into it didn't do me any benefits.
Right.
As far as the PTSD issues, I've been dealing with those for a long time. Today is actually the anniversary of my best friend being killed in Iraq. He was killed in 2008. So 14 years. Whew. And if you would have asked me a few years ago to talk about it, I'd have been able to get through it, but it was very difficult. The grieving process is never fully complete. But I seen Sergeant Cruz is on, and Sergeant First Class Cruz, retired. Him and I met in San Antonio, and he, man, the embodiment of a true leader.
Yeah.
A combat medic, and I'm an infantry guy. And he noticed some signs that I had going on for PTSD, and it was like, look, Garay, you have so much potential, and if you could just brush up these skills, brush up on this, get the help you need, you could really make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's one of the 2 moments in my life that I can look back on and say, he really helped me straighten out my career. So transitioning, I didn't have a whole lot of PTSD stress, but I totally missed the camaraderie, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's probably why you and I click.
Right.
You try to, when you're in the military, you're forced to be around people, and you're forced to go in one direction. And when you get out, you're kind of just flopping in the wind, not a clear vision. You kind of have an idea what you want to do, but not a clear vision of where it is you want to go. And sure enough, when you get that vision set, you start attracting things to you.
Right.
And I'm attractive, so boom, here you are next to me.
Yeah, that's what attracted me.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, man. You're also a small business owner, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did that come into play?
So while my wife and I were starting the Dave Ramsey steps, right? The very second step is to eliminate all debt. Number 1, save $1,000. Cool. Number 2, eliminate all debt, and as fast as you can. Like he says it all the time, gazelle-like intensity. All right. So the gazelle is fastest when it's being chased by the lion. The debt is your lion. As long as you have debt, you're being chased. Somebody's going to come to collect.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of us get in trouble, honestly, is the amount of debt we take on. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
$75,000, man. So we said, how can we get out of this faster? So we, sold some of the stuff. We cut out some of the BS that we had. My wife and I were kind of going through a little bit of marital problems, and so we started dating. So we're like, okay, well, we can't date. We can't go out every weekend.
Right.
We got to stay in more, and then we have to vocalize it. Hey, tell my family, tell my friends, like we're gonna be home. That's just who we are right now. I got to get out of this. And in the summer of 2020, my dad, every summer he tries to have like a neighborhood block party a couple times, and he had a water slide. He invited the neighborhood kids out, and he invited somebody who owns snow cones to come out and do it. She brought a machine and a little table side flavor station, had 9 flavors in it. She actually had 2 of them, so 18 flavors. We were like, this is the coolest thing there is, man. It's Texas. It's hot. There's always a need for snow cones. So we got to talking to her, and She had an old appliance for us and an old machine, an old flavor station, and we got rolling. Little table, little business cards, cash, whoever can do it.
Right. Man.
Is there a need for this?
Yeah, well, yeah, in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's awesome.
Have you had one yet?
And no, I didn't. I was gonna have
How
one
dare
on
you.
Sunday when you had me over, but I was too focused on eating what was there.
We had crawfish on Sunday.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I don't eat crawfish. I'm allergic to shellfish.
But he cooks crawfish, but he's allergic to crawfish. That don't make no sense to me. Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I enjoy cooking. It's the process of having folks over. It's that's definitely a trait that I picked up from my family. My parents are huge on that. We always had family parties. And on the other side, when I was in the military, I had a squad leader, Staff Sergeant Curry, and the man, a lot like Sergeant Cruz, just the embodiment of what a leader is.
Yeah.
And if you can go out and live your life like this man lives his life, half of what this man lives his life, you'll be a success. And he's not big on. He's a big guy, but he's not big on show, or he's a culture person. And when I was a young private, he come in our house. Everybody's coming over, squad parties.
Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and he was that leader that showed me that. And so when I became a leader, and I was able to do that, and I was like, yeah, come on over. And now it's just a natural carryover. I'd rather people come over to my house, especially with 4 kids at home. You're like, how do I keep them entertained? I can't go to somebody else's house because these kids are bad. Well, they're bad when they're at home, When they're somebody else's house, they're saints.
Oh, you got good kids, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. They're funny. They energize, man. They're running around. Yeah, I can. I miss my girls being that little.
Right.
Yeah, and then I get baby fever, and then I'm like, I see like I get to leave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, you know what? It's nice, but
yeah,
I think that's my cue. I'm gonna go ahead and roll.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with my sister. She's got smaller girls, and I'm like, man, this is cool for a couple of hours, but like I'm gonna go ahead and go home.
and you're definitely the introvert. I'm definitely more extroverted, and that's always come into play. But I mean, there's sometimes where you just want to be alone.
Yeah, man. That's my way. I think I'd rather be alone than be around a lot of people, and I'm trying to change that. I get into a couple of funks every now and then where I'm just all about hiding and not really reaching out, and people notice it because I won't be on social media or I won't be like different places.
And man, you can't be an advocate for veterans and not advocating.
I know.
But and that's what we're here for too, to help get you promoted, get you out there. I mean, it's all about being helpful, and that's such a key to the military. If you can just be helpful,
right?
If you can see the work and go to it, and you become useful. And when you get out, it's like some people just don't want the help, which I get. But for us, it's like, how else can I serve you?
Mm-hmm. We serve for so long, we get out and try to find another way to serve, even if it's just getting back into the community, giving back to the community or in any way. I think that's something that's built in us, as well as like, I guess, like I said, we're so used to serving the country, and we try our hardest to give back to.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Serving is, I have it on my Facebook post. If serving is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If serving is beneath you, leadership is beyond you. And some folks who invest in businesses, they won't invest in your business unless you are a server or a dishwasher. Because you have to have that hustle, you have to have that grind. And for a lot of us veterans, we've come through a lot. If you look at wherever we were before we joined the Army, military in general, before we joined the military, they're all for good reasons. Right. I mean, I know you guys out there joined for a good reason. And some of us are for multiple reasons. And the whole stigma behind go to war, go to jail, that's not around anymore. I mean, I didn't have to go to war or go to jail. I just joined because of what I saw, of the desire to serve.
Yeah. What was your biggest push to join into the military?
Ooh, man, I feel like it's been a lifelong thing for
Mhm.
me. It's in our culture. My dad's a Marine,
Yeah.
and I have two uncles that were in the Army.
So did your dad give you shit because you joined the army?
All the time. It doesn't stop, and that's what makes it great about it.
Yeah.
But my Marine story is I went to go talk to the recruiters, to the
Yeah.
Marine Corps recruiters, and he was locked out of his office. And so I was
He
like,
was locked out of his own office.
yeah. They were closed for lunch, and he couldn't get in his office.
It sounds very Marine-ish.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go talk to the Army then.
Yeah.
Talk to the Army, and they're like, you get a bonus, you get to pick your job, you get to pick your school, you get a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was in ROTC in high school, and I was able to come in as an E3. So, more pay.
All I heard was bonus.
Yeah. and at the time it was like 20 grand. Now they're offering like 50.
Man, that's yeah.
So for you recruiters out there, I got your back, man. Let's get them joined. That's my pops.
You see? Don't get me going.
Yeah. I mean, he knows. As soon as, for me, it was more, the biggest driver was the job. I got to pick my job. And I wanted to be an infantry guy.
Yeah, from the get-go.
Yeah. I saw the Twin Towers fall. I remember that feeling. My best friend who passed,
Where were you?
I was a junior at Bel Air High School when I was going into electronics class, right?
Mhm.
Soldering. Actually, a good friend of mine, he's Jewish. He went to Israel and served in the IDF.
Oh, wow.
And he was in that class too.
With the same class with you?
Yeah. He's a year ahead of me, Edward Getz. Miss you, boy. And it's surreal, just to imagine the attacks that we went through to join, and then we're a whole lifetime away.
Yeah.
A whole lifetime removed.
Yeah.
I was invited to go do a Veterans Day gig or speech at Friendswood High School. Thank you, Friendswood. And one of the classes, I was like, they asked, some of the story, why did I join? I was like, I remember the Twin Towers falling. I was a junior. Wait a minute. You guys are juniors, right? Yeah. Holy, what happened to me?
It's crazy.
Where did it go? And it's funny, it's funny to imagine what we went through. And now, we're talking to the next generation.
Yeah, that was a lot of our generation's push to join into the service was witnessing 9/11, and that was actually my reason. Right. Besides needing to get away, it wasn't court ordered. But I got into my trouble after I got out. Yeah. Man, but it's let me ask you a question, man. Have you always been a good speaker? Because you speak and you speak real well.
Well, I appreciate that. I always second guess myself, honestly.
Yeah.
I hate knowing the term imposter syndrome.
Say it. What does it mean?
It's the feeling like you don't belong.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm filling the shoes that somebody else should be doing. Why should I start a podcast? Right? Somebody else is already doing it. Then they'll do it better than me.
Yeah.
Right? Why should I start a snow cone business? Somebody else will do it. They're doing it better than me. Mm-hmm. And then I went to go see an astronaut speak yesterday at the Combined Arms Christian Luncheon. Colonel Hopkins.
Like an astronaut?
Yes. In the Space Force, a colonel in the Space Force.
Oh, dang. Yeah. I never met no one in the Space Force yet.
Me either. He was my first one. Yes. Michael Hopkins. And, of course, it's a Christian luncheon. He talked about his faith, talked about how he was he was always raised Christian, but he was a converted Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
His wife's Catholic, and he never really wanted to. And then before he went to space and all that, he went to the classes to become a Catholic and be baptized Catholic. And he's up here and he's like, I feel like I don't belong to talk about faith because I'm not a study of the Bible. I can't quote it correctly. I can't tell you where everything is. I can't tell you what is leading me. And I'm like, that guy feels imposter syndrome.
Yeah, but I would see like that kind of be funny though, because I would, he's real about it, You know what I mean? So you would want to. He's not just reading it from the book,
Right.
and I guess that's the type of
Yeah.
somebody I'd listen to. You know?
And so for me, a lot of times it's just talking, and you know, I try to get out the message that I want to say, be clear and concise, try to tell the story, inflections and all that will come, but it's repetition. It's repetition. It's repetition. The reason why I'm able to talk about this story is because I've told it since last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I work with Impact a Hero now. When I went to work there, one of the things I have to do is teach a financial class, and I've taught that class 30, 40 times, maybe.
Yeah.
And I talk about money and finances all the time, all the time. Hey, how do you do it? How do you do it? Over and over and over again. And I just get comfortable talking about it. And so for me, the reason why I'm comfortable because I picked this phone up and said, hey, hope you guys are having a good day. Let's go make it a great day.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy your morning messages, bro. And a lot of people do it. Like I was having a conversation with my brother the other day, man. He's like, "Hey, I said, Will's gonna be on the podcast," and he's like, "Man," he goes, that dude's got a lot of knowledge."
Oh, man.
And I was like, "Yeah, man." I said, I don't know any subject that we've talked about where this dude is not knowledgeable.
I'm working on it. I really am. And I said it earlier. I think the more I learn, the more I want to talk about what it is I learned. Because for me, in order for it to sink in, I have to teach it. That's what works best for me, or do it. But for me, it's teaching it again. I noticed that right away too, where I noticed it reflecting back when I worked at the warehouse. I had to go through a beginner's class on how to do some of the wiring and stuff.
Right.
And I was like trying to help these guys who are the same level as I am do these skills that were just taught to us.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
And it's not because I knew, but it's because I knew that the science is behind it. Like, why am I rushing this? There's other outside forces that go into it rather than just doing the movements. It's like, okay, well, you're letting, the cameras, you're letting the people affect you with your performance. And so for me, that's one of the big things that I've talked about my entire career is like, how do you go through this? Take a deep breath, think positive about it, and then execute.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I guess. Yeah. What brought you? I know you work for Impact a Hero now, but how did you get involved with that organization? And have you always been involved in the veteran community?
Ooh, I think I've always been involved. It's such a surreal thing. When I was at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, I got to work a lot with the other nonprofits that were out there in San Antonio doing the work. So Operation Comfort, Soldiers Angels, Wounded Warrior Project. I'm sure I'm missing a few others.
Yeah.
But they would. Of course, this is the height of the surge. This is after all that. This is 11 through 15, and a lot of these organizations they needed someone to serve, and so we would send our clients or our soldiers to them as clients, and they would take them out hunting or fishing or help them with whatever it is they needed. And so I always thought that was really cool, but I just never thought that I could feel that.
Right.
That imposter syndrome. And then when I did transition, I was like, I have to get working. But through doing the Dave Ramsey stuff, I found Impact a Hero on LinkedIn. It was when I started doing some of the Dave Ramsey stuff, I realized that it's goal setting.
Yeah.
This is goal setting. This is a self-awareness thing. I have to take ownership of this. Like, it's me. I was the one to blame for the mess I'm in. And the quickest way out of a hole is you stop digging.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm realizing all the chaos I'm causing, start getting better. Hey, this is what I'm going to do. I started on LinkedIn. Let me start posting consistently, start getting active, see what else there is out there. I wasn't too happy at work, but I was happy generally. And I came across somebody shared Impact a Heroes page. It was a financial strategy course, and my wife and I went to it, and I would say the rest is history almost.
So is that how that whole Dave Ramsey thing came into play, or were you doing that prior? And how did you come across that?
No, I was doing that prior. I actually picked up the Total Money Makeover at the USO in 2011, my way back off the deployment.
Yeah.
And I held on to that book for 10 years before I opened
Before
it.
you opened it?
So when my wife and I, again, when we were having our struggles, when we started to decide we're gonna get better with this, I read, actually the first book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and it was like, poor people don't talk about money, and rich people do. Rich people are like, hey man, where are you putting your money at, or what's a good investment, or let's talk about it. And poor people are like, yeah, flashy. Look at all the stuff that I owe, and that's not like, that's just poor in the mind, not money wise, right?
Yeah.
Not financially, and so I had a poor mind about it, and I was just broke. I didn't know what to do with my money. So when I read the book, I said, okay, how else do I get involved? What's the best route for me? And then I read the Dave Ramsey book, and I was like, this is it. This is an easy place for me. Step by step. I'm an infantry guy, right? Not well educated, not well spoken. You could even say
well spoken now, bro. Yeah.
And it was easy. Hey, this is where you start. When you get here, this is what you do next. This is what you do next. This is what you do next. I was like, okay. And then when I came across the LinkedIn post, it was a financial strategy course, and it was in January of 2021. And so my wife and I attended it, and it was like maybe 6 or 7 of us, all veterans, taught by a veteran. And I'm like, all these people were just like me.
Was that the course I took?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except it was taught by another lady. Her name's Jan.
Okay.
And she gave the same thing. Told her story. Told the steps. What are your questions?
Yeah.
And gave us a book stack. And it was like, okay, this is cool. I stuck around. I told my wife, babe, let's wait. Like, I want to talk to her. I want to see how else I can get involved with this. And we did that. And of course, it took a while to talk to her because there's a lot of people around. So I said, let's talk. Let's wait. So she goes and I haven't really told anybody else this. My wife knows, but she says, I said, how can I get more involved? How do I get more involved with this? And she says, you wouldn't believe this, but on my way here today, I was praying to the Lord, and I asked him to send me someone to help me give this to. Swear to God.
Yeah.
You talk about, and I was like, holy moly. Okay. She's like, look, the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take this leadership academy, right? It's the follow-up. It was a course that they were just starting. It was a pilot course, number 1. She was like, take the leadership academy because I know the director's going to want you to go to that. And then give me your resume, and I'll see what we can do. So I started the class at the end of January. I was taught by Mr. Rick Miller. He's a 30-year naval aviator, retired as a captain, which is an 06 for us grunts. It's an 06. And it was a great class. And there was 8 other veterans just like me trying to find more information.
Yeah.
Some of them were in the financial strategy course too. So it was a natural carryover. We had that natural bond, like, okay, what's next? And then in February, they offered me a part-time contract. So it was 10 hours a week. And then April, I think it was right before I graduated. So April 15th is when I started full-time.
That's what's up.
Yeah. The lady Jan, she had other things to go take care of. She's a super busy woman. But it was because of that,
Man, that's crazy.
Right?
Yeah. How do you say God works in mysterious ways, man?
He does. He does. And what I try to get across in the classes is when you're open for that opportunities, when you open your life and you're like, you hear it all the time, and I'm not trying to get too religious, but when you open your life to God and you're saying, hey, I'm here, use me, he listens.
Yeah.
And it started from a very, very bad place, right? In a lot of debt, struggling, living paycheck to paycheck like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else. And I'm like, this shouldn't be the life that I'm living. Started getting right, got our finances on track, and then just said, what else can we do? Boom, snow cone business. Okay, well, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to do the best at my job. I'm going to be open for opportunities. Let me get on LinkedIn. Opportunity comes, financial class, leadership academy. And then since then, it's just been constant rotation, constant growth.
How long have you how long have you been in business for yourself?
With Snowy, we started in 2020, and like I said, it was just
Yeah.
if you want to go legally, it would be 2021 is when we started.
Okay.
But for us, it's as soon as you can make that first sale,
yeah.
you're in business.
Yeah, in business. Yeah.
You're in business.
Yeah.
Everything else can be built.
Right.
Everything else can be legalized later. Sell a product, boom, you're in business.
Yeah.
And so then we were like, okay, how do we cover LLC? We started Garay Marketing, which is cool to say, Garay Marketing LLC.
Nice.
And so because we had the idea of doing snow cones, and then later on doing something else, and just being able to have like an umbrella
Branch
organization,
off.
right, as we continue to build and get better at all of our stuff.
Man, that's what's up. I like hearing your. Is your wife a lot like you?
How so?
Like talk the way y'all speak, the way y'all in knowledge and talking and things like that.
My wife is the perfect woman for me.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her, man, there's no way any of this could have been possible. And I've told her that. Like I feel like I would have been. I was on this path already, but because of her, I was lifted, like with that force multiplier.
Right.
But we are different. We're both a little more extroverted, but we're both very caring. I am more of a feeler. I know that, like, and as much as that's true, I know I've also, I'm trying to do my best to hold up my share of the bargain, because I'll share this with you. One of the things when I went through therapy, I would always say, because I have 2 kids from my ex-wife, which we have custody of, I would say this all the time. I just want to be a great father.
Yeah.
I just want to be a great father. That's it. I just want to be a great father. That's the number one goal. But what I didn't realize is one of the best things to do to be a great father is to be a great husband.
Okay.
And I wasn't holding up that part of it. So I can't be a great father without being a great husband. Mm-hmm. And when I started to become that great husband, everything came about. And now I can be that great father.
That's what's up.
Crazy.
It makes a lot of sense.
I'm telling you, man.
So you're dropping knowledge.
Yeah, bro. I mean, she doesn't talk as much as I do, which is great, because then I can tell her everything and she can just listen. But I also have to remember to be like, take a breath. She has her own concerns and needs that I have to listen to.
Right.
Not that I have to, that I get to listen to.
That's what's up.
Because she chose me, right? And I chose her, and we're in this thing together.
Everybody that I've come across that knows you, man, has the same things to say. Like Marcelo. Marcelo says that you're a great person.
Thanks.
And you're awesome.
Appreciate that.
That's a great dude right there, man.
Yeah, he's doing great things in the community too.
Yeah.
I was connected with Marcelo right when I transitioned to. I got in touch with the American GI Forum because I knew there were nonprofits out there, right? And it's about trying to find which ones there may be. And I was like, and I came across American GI Forum, and Marcelo was very kind. And that's so underrated.
Yeah.
Just be kind. Just be kind to your client. Just be kind to your customer. Just be kind to your friends. Being kind is underrated, and he was just kind to me. And sure enough, when I did get a job, I didn't talk to him for a few years. And then through Impact to Hero, we reconnected. And now we're like, hey, man, can you help me out doing this? And I'm like, yeah, let me know what you need. Let's do it together. Let's figure this out, and that's it. He has the very same mentality that we do. There's the veteran doesn't belong to our organization. We can partner together to grow. Right. We provided a very different service than a lot of other people. Of course, there's some natural carryover, but this isn't a competition.
Yeah, but a lot of people forget that, man. A lot of people forget that.
I listen to Gary Vee a lot. The world is abundant. The world is abundant. You put the best out there, and you let the market decide.
Yeah.
Because everybody for snow cones, right? Everybody serves the same thing. They use different flavors. But what you're really getting when you get us is you're getting my wife. You're getting the personal touch, right? And you're supporting a woman-owned business, you're supporting a veteran-owned business, and you're giving us the opportunity to prove our worth. And I'm huge on providing more value for what I give you than what you give me.
Marcelo said it's iron sharpening iron. I like that. Yeah.
It's true, my man.
Yeah.
It's true. it's been a good partnership. It's been fun.
Yeah, I met him a few years, and kind of similar to yourself that we lost touch and then we linked back up. He's a good dude. He's always doing amazing things for the veteran community, man. I'm a fan. There's a lot of man. Let's say, well, man, what tell me something else you'd like to speak about, man. I know we were talking about transitioning, and what made you decide to become, I would say, an advocate in the veteran community, because you speak a lot about different subjects. What pushed you along that way? Was it being Impact a Hero, or were you like that before that?
I think it's been the growth. I want to say Impact a Hero and the Leadership Academy really accelerated it.
Mm-hmm.
I say it like this when I took the Leadership Academy, and I tell everybody this. I always knew where I wanted to go. I always knew I was going to do good things. When I took the Impact a Hero and I was able to get that vision, I was able to focus and say, this is what I got to do to get better. And I identified a few areas to do that. First was I had to leave my job. And I had to get into an uncomfortable situation, which is working for Impact a Hero. I mean, again, the imposter syndrome comes in, and it's like, am I good enough to do this? Right? You don't really know what you're doing. And for me, that's just fear. That's fear talking to us. Right? And the fear is the anxiety of the future.
Right.
I don't know if I'm good enough, but I'll be damned if I don't try
to
prove my worth that I can do this.
Yeah.
And I knew from working at Fort Sam that I'd be good enough. And I knew I had the great relationships when I was stationed at Fort Bragg that I'd be good enough. I knew that I was pretty raw as a leader when I was at 3rd ID Fort Stewart, but there were still characteristics that carried me over, right? The family, learning resilience, bouncing back. And so it's just been able to kind of carry over to where I am now. And it's like, now that I have a vision of what it is I want to do, I have to get into an uncomfortable situation, grow a little bit. I had to help my wife get her business going, that's being successful. I had to be open to coaching and criticism. And so I did find a coach to help me tell my story better, to help me tell my story and get comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
And on the backside as well is just recently though, but is being very, very in tune with getting counseling or getting help, getting assistance. I've been going to counseling since 2013. I went for years. I take a break. I went for years. I take a break. And for me, it's like, if I want to talk about that, when I tell that story, I then have power over it. Right. And so the more I get to tell that story, the more I get to talk about those things, the more powerful I am over it. And I think that's true in any of all of our stories.
Right.
And so for me, when I'm able to tell it, I'm more comfortable telling it, which is, I guess, why I'm now a little more comfortable on camera.
And I think you're more comfortable than me, man.
I have so much to say and give away. I'm like, I want to say it all at one time.
Yeah.
You know? So if you're transitioning, all right, for me, it's anywhere in your life that you're transitioning. I love the way Next Stop said it. Transitioning veteran could be going from active duty to reserve, or from reserve to civilian life, or you could be transitioning jobs. I just transitioned myself from working at a warehouse to working in this role, right? So if you're a transitioning veteran, the number one thing you can do is get your finances right. 50% of the marriages fail, and 80% of that is because of finances. Huge. And we think we know but the truth is we're so used to the 1st and the 15th.
Yeah.
I was there when there was one paycheck missed, but we were okay. I've been there when I didn't pay my mortgage on the 1st to do other things, and then paid it on the 15th and barely got by. I was there with $8,000 in the AFES card, right? I mean,
damn.
I was there too, man. But I'm telling you, you think you're okay, and then it's just different. It's just completely different. That comfort goes away. And now for me, if you get your finances, then you start betting on yourself, because you have a lot more value than you realize.
Right.
And now for me, all these soft skills, watch out. They're everywhere.
Dang. Man, Will, do you have any anything you'd like to say before we close out, man? I could sit here and listen and speak to you for forever, but I know we got
Yeah.
things to do.
No, yeah. We definitely could. No, again, I think there's so much power in our stories, right? It needs to be told. Your story needs to be told. Okay. And I've seen Matthew pop up. A lot of times with veterans, we kind of just keep the stories to ourselves. We don't talk about them enough.
Yeah.
Today is the anniversary of my best friend being killed in 2008. Okay. If I didn't talk about his story, those memories die with me. Okay. So that's one thing that I want veterans to remember is it's not about accomplishing all your goals in one day. Okay. This is a slow, long journey. And if you can just get 1% better, if you can just tell one more veteran, this is what we got going on, if you can just reach out to one more friend, your purpose becomes clearer.
Man, with that, God, that's a lot. Hey, how can people reach you if they'd like to reach out to you?
Cool. Well, I'm pretty active on most socials, and all my handles are at WGARAYJR. Facebook, LinkedIn, TikToks that's a huge thing now. Apparently.
Yeah, TikTok.
Man, it's crazy out there, but
Are you on?
I'll try it out.
Are you on there dancing?
Man, I won't dance, but I'll definitely spit the knowledge.
Go.
It's so funny because you gotta get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To grow, man.
You do, man. You do. And when I started this whole thing, man, I'm still working on trying to be more comfortable with the whole situation. But it's something that, it took adjusting. And like you say,
Thank you, Lisa. My sister.
Oh yeah. That's what's up, man. But hey, I definitely want you to come back on and we can discuss the shit a lot more.
Yeah, we definitely can. I'd be honored to. Appreciate that.
And I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you.
Hey guys, as always, appreciate you tuning in. If you missed it, be sure to like, share us on Facebook, and it'll be available on all podcast platforms as of tomorrow morning. Hey, Will, again, man, appreciate you being on. And everybody, hey, Charlie Mike.